So for our first show to talk about regions and what's going on here, Region 1, what better topic to talk about than Australia? Here's Bailey Devine-Scott from Western New England. Okay, Bailey.
Yep.
Just you and me here. We're going to talk about Australia versus the U.S. right now.
Right.
Okay. How long have you been in the U.S.?
I moved here in 2018.
2018?
Yep.
And to come to college, basically?
Yes.
Okay, so first days here, what was your thought? I mean, how weird was it to be in the U.S. suddenly?
My first day here, I was just down the road, Hampden Hall. My parents walked me in, had a couple of suitcases, had a backpack, and then said goodbye to me and left. And that was, I was like, wow. And that was it. And I was like, wow, I'm here now. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I was ready for the challenge.
Weirdest thing about Americans that you didn't necessarily expect in terms of our traditions and whatnot?
Thanksgiving is a strange tradition.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanksgiving. The food, but I love it though. All you do in Thanksgiving is eat food and watch football. Fell in love with Thanksgiving when I came here. And one thing that Americans do, their communication and their connections with everybody. Everybody knows anybody. Everybody has a connection somewhere. Someone knows somebody down the road. Everybody knows a person with a job. Everyone knows everybody here.
But Australia's a smaller area. I mean, you're telling me that doesn't exist there?
Not the way you guys, I would say, very hometownly. You guys know where everyone's hometown's from. You know who owns the local bakery down the town. You know everything about the local town, and there's a lot of townies, you would call them. People that just love to grow up in their hometown and stay there.
Okay, so 2018, have you been back since 2018?
I haven't been back since 9th of January 2020.
And that was before COVID?
Yes.
And so they've had some pretty strong restrictions in Australia with
Yep.
COVID and all that. How's your family doing?
Right now they're in lockdown. They've been in lockdown for the past 4 weeks. So they're hoping to get out of lockdown sometime soon, but Australia's still getting some cases, so everything's shut down.
Any family in the U.S.?
No.
So this is really just strange man, strange land for you, completely.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So after graduation, you going back, or what's going to happen?
No idea. I've got an extra season of eligibility due to COVID, so we'll see what happens, and I'd love to go to grad school somewhere. So
You want an extra Thanksgiving here, don't you?
yeah.
Got it, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Crikey.
It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I love it. And he's right. He nailed it.
It is. Yeah, we just sort of sit around and we eat and
Watch football.
And yeah, that was kind of not surprised that an Australian would pick up on that.
Well, we got more with Bailey and some of his teammates and some Springfield players. I shouldn't say teammates in that case, I guess. But either way, folks, this is season 14 of In the Huddle. Okay, JB, you know, before we dive in here, something we should have used in our first show was this region photo, essentially, of what our regions look like.
The PowerPoint slides that you ignored that I worked so hard on. See what I have to deal with here, people. This guy just lawyering, busy, you know. But yeah, as we tried to explain in the preseason opener, we're trying to expand our coverage. But
how are we doing with that?
So far, so good, is what I've heard. I mean, some people are like, how are you guys even doing this? I mean, because this is all you get, folks.
Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, we're going to talk more about this throughout the week. We are, with the goalpost right between us, I didn't even realize we did that. We are at Montclair State University. We've had quite a travel schedule over the last week, as you know, some of it related to football, some of it not, or incidental to football. And here we are. So we'll talk more about that as the shows go on. This is Region 1 day, though, first on Monday. This is being released. But you can see the regions and the way things work here. And, you know, Region 1, we pointed out in our first show, yeah, the MAC and the New England teams.
New England +1.
Yeah. There's really no way to get from the MAC that I know of to New England without basically going through another state to get there.
Or a couple, depending on which way you're driving.
Well, I'm thinking New York because we got a little bit of Jersey influence in the MAC, right?
Connecticut.
Yeah.
maybe, depending on which way you're going.
Yeah.
I suppose.
So either way, it's a little bit weird, but I guess there were some games scheduled between MAC teams and Region 1 or New England teams, I should say, ahead of time before they even knew this was going to happen. So it fits in some ways, especially after Wesley dissolves and they had to fill in some schedule gaps, and New England teams were willing to take chances. So anyway, let's look at the teams that are ranked in our top 25 from Region 1. That's a pretty short list there. Del Val coming in pretty high, as you can see.
Yep, and that's about it.
Yeah. So this is a region that needs to begin to prove itself. This is a region that I think is actually going to suffer more from the new regional structure, JB.
Yeah, we talked about a little, about that sort of offline. And initially, my thought is, well, this 6-region expansion should leave teams on the table longer. But when you look at the cluster in Region 6, where we have this large grouping of teams that have appeared in Stag Bowls over the last couple decades. And it's funny, actually, I talked to Coach Robertson of WPI, and he was like, we went 9-1 in 2019, and we never even were in the conversation.
Yep, and that's the thing. With 6 regions, 6 teams on the table at any given time, you're going to be going up against some stalwarts across the country, not just 3 of them, 5 of them possibly.
Yeah.
And New England, well, let's look at one of our key games here. We're putting on the screen some key Region 1 games in Week 1. You can see, Merchant Marine FDU Florham, I'll be at that game. But then you look at Springfield, Western New England, the Pynchon Saw game.
Great game.
Big game.
Yeah.
But Springfield was picked to win the New MAC.
Yep.
Western New England was picked to win the CCC.
Yes.
And, in any other, let's say it was the MIAC-WIAC showdown or something like that, a team could lose that game, lose the conference, so lose 2 games basically, and still maybe make the playoffs.
Yep.
In a case like this, it's not going to happen probably.
No. This is kind of a playoff elimination game, adding to the importance.
Unless you win your conference afterward.
Yeah, exactly. The automatic qualifier will ultimately trump everything, and that's really how the teams in Region 1, maybe with an exception of the runner-up in the MAC, but even then, that may not be good enough.
We'll see what happens, but we wanted to focus, as you can see, the rest of the games there. We'll talk more about these, obviously, through various measures on Twitter, etc., as the week goes on and post these. But we want to look at the Pynchon Saw game, especially coming up here, and that is, we've had it on Friday night before. It's a big game. For Region 1. It's basically as big as it gets, I would say. I'd love to go to it, but only one person. I can't get to multiple games. But here's some interviews that we did. We're going to start with wide receiver Adam Razza of Western New England, and we talked to him about basically coming back after COVID and everything else. That you'll see a theme in a lot of these interviews. Wanted to see how everybody was facing and dealing with things and how it feels to be back. Here's Adam Razza. Adam, quite a road we've been down the last year and a half, obviously. You had an interesting end to the 2019 season. Coming into 2020, you guys were looking to kind of get a good foothold with what you had in 2019, and then no games, no play, maybe some practices, etc. Take us through your own story about everything since 2019, basically.
No, yeah, it's been one crazy ride, I'll tell you that. We ended 2019, almost squeezed out that Brockport game. Unfortunately, didn't. We all came back, fully hoping to have a 2020 season, and then we didn't. And that's when all the guys in my grade, us seniors, we had a decision to make, right? We had to decide whether we wanted to come back, keep our legacy going, take some master's classes, do what we're going to do, or not. And we actually decided, the majority of us came back, except it was only one senior that didn't come back, which actually shows a lot about the guys on our team. And then now we're here finally having a chance to play again, and we're just going to make the most out of it.
As a senior, and we don't even try to figure out who's a senior fifth year and all that stuff that's going to be going on here from now on, but as a declared senior, at least on the roster, and with your experience in 2019, lights out about 850 yards receiving, if I remember correctly, you're going to be kind of responsible with your receiving core to get the new quarterback ready to go here, and can't miss a beat because you guys start with your cross-town rival, Springfield. So what are you guys doing to get your QB and the rest of the offense ready for what's in front of you now?
No, yeah, we have a ton of leaders on offense. That's our job. It's to groom the younger guys, mature them, and have them fill in the spots. And once one guy goes down or leaves, the next guy's right there to take his spot and do his duties. And so, like I said, we have a lot of leaders. We're just trying to get our timing done, figure out really get our plays going, and be the best we could do.
Alec Coleman, though, was a one-of-a-kind quarterback, no doubt. And so, I mean, tell fans what to expect here in terms of change between Alec and what's in front of us. I mean, have we heard a declaration of who QB is this early?
Not yet. But the only thing I will say is when Anthony Service was the quarterback and Alec Coleman came in, people had the same questions. Is he going to be able to fill the role? And I think we both know he did. He did more than that.
Yes, he did.
So no matter who we have out there, they will do their job. I promise you that.
Thanks, Adam, for that. Also from Western New England, we want to go defense too, and that's the theme we'll be doing when we do these interviews on location is offense, defense. Oh, by the way, shout-outs from him and all the players that we interview coming at the end of the show. We'll be having those. We did not forget, so stay tuned for shout-outs from Adam and everybody else that we have here. We have in defense land here, defensive back Bailey Devine-Scott. You saw him in the cold open.
Right.
Yes, sir. And Josh Salem, linebacker for Western New England, talked about kind of the same topics and what to look forward to in this Springfield game. Now, defensively, as a safety, obviously, people haven't always respected Western New England's defensive core because you sometimes get into shootouts, etc. Seemed to calm that down a little bit in 2019, obviously, and then COVID happens and takes you guys kind of out of rhythm in 2020 with no games. How tough is it going to be for this defense to get back on that track that you started in 2019 with some great numbers on your end?
I don't think the track ever stopped. We just took a time out. We just stopped for a year. We kept practicing. We never stopped. We took COVID very seriously, and we followed all the protocol, and we were able to still get out on the field and practice. And we have all our players returning bar one. So we've got a lot of experience left on defense, and I think it's going to be a great year for the Golden Bear defense.
We heard from Adam that the defense and offense both are bringing back a lot of players, especially he talked about the offense. How key has that been, and what was the discussion behind the scenes about it?
I mean, it's been great. We have a lot of senior leaders returning. We have a lot of young guys stepping up into roles. And to your prior question, I don't think much has changed. I mean, like we always do, we're going to trust our coaches' schemes and trust the players to the left and the right of us and just get the job done. So, Coach has been here for a little while. To me, he's been a pretty defensive-minded guy, etc. And it's always tough enough to get people to commit to a program to start with. To get them to come back again, especially seniors that wanted to come back, even tougher. And then you have this big game coming up right from the start, Springfield. What kind of barometer do you think that's going to be for us as to what this defense is, knowing how tough it is to guard that triple option defense, or offense, excuse me? I mean, Coach Bresner always knows. We play them every year. He always has something up his sleeve to counter their triple option offense, and we're just going to go out there and play them.
Do you hate the triple option, though?
It's a good time.
I'll take that as a kind of. But similarly, as a safety, it's a bigger challenge probably for you compared to what you're used to because of how many people have to play in the box. And do you think it serves as a good challenge up front to test who you guys are as the defensive core?
I think it's a great first game. I think it's a great first test for our defense, see how we're built, test how we handle the box, see how we handle the run. And I've got no problem playing the triple option to me. I think it's the best type of football there is. Fly around, see who's got the bigger dog in him.
I've got to think to myself, Mr. Aussie guy, that rugby may have been in your past in some way, shape, or form, and the triple option is not that different from some of the aspects of rugby.
Yeah, so that's basically why I said I loved it, because back home we used to play rugby before I started playing football, and same thing, fly around, make a few tackles. That's about it. Love that.
I love his attitude.
You love it, right?
But how tough is it to understand the accent sometimes, to be honest?
I've been great friends with Bailey for 4 years. There's no struggle anymore.
JB, Pynchon Saw game would not be complete without talking to some Springfield players as well. Offensive line-wise, so we got to know Nick Boehner really well over in Springfield, and Chad Shade. Well, both of them have graduated off or transferred to a Division I baseball school in Chad's case. We may be seeing him soon on our
Cape
show.
Cod League or something, we'll see.
Yeah, but we'll see him on our show soon, talk to him a little bit about how things are going. But Lou Cocozza from Springfield is a very key part of their offensive line, a Campbell Trophy nominee.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, you may see a picture of him around as a center because he was filling in for Boehner at one point. But he is a tackle officially, and a very good one and big one at that. You'll see that right now. Lou, new quarterback technically. I think Wells only had a couple snaps last year against Union before he got hurt. And as a tackle here on that offensive line, it's going to be important, especially in this triple option, to get protection up front. What kind of challenge is that going to pose, especially after not having a 2020 season?
So right now, Wells, he's doing great in preseason. He's learned this offense through his 4 years. We have a great offensive line coming in right now with the Roach. We're hard workers, and we're going to give him that protection he needs just to continue and drive the ball each and every rep.
Already a Campbell nominee right now, and obviously, the offensive line of this school does get a lot of kudos. Nick Boehner's of the world, who I keep looking behind me to make sure he's not there somehow. Thank God. Hey, Nick. But anyway, the point being that you guys do have a lot of accolades and whatnot. Is it tough to keep standing in that kind of spotlight because of what this offense is? And we've seen a lot of injuries, and I hate to say that, bring that up, but how do you stay conditioned, especially with a gap year like this?
So we treat every rep as a Roach, like it's a game. So each day we're coming out to practice. We're practicing hard every day. We've had great role models. You mentioned Nick Boehner, his senior class. He taught us everything. So we're carrying what he has shown us to the younger kids now, and that's what's going to drive us each game.
I was conversing with Chad Shade. Coach said he was by just a little while ago, or about a week ago from this interview. What kind of words did he have of support for you guys as he got back to Kansas State?
So Chad Shade, he was a great leader here, great player as well, and he just told us to keep going, keep driving, keep working. We all struggled this past year, but he told us just keep our head down, keep working, and everything's going to fall into place.
Western New England, always a tough opponent to start with. Pynchon Saw game, crosstown rival. Is this like a barometer game and then some for where you are as a team as much as for them?
So Winnick, they're a great program. We open up with them every year. So it's going to be great to finally start playing football again against them. And I know they're going to bring it, and we're going to bring it as well. So.
Thanks to Lou for that. And, we don't talk much about the defense of Springfield as much as we probably should. It's the overshadowing of that triple option scenario. And, we wanted to talk to somebody who was very important in their 2019 campaign of keeping the score down. If you don't keep the score down as a defense in Springfield, your offense is not the type at Springfield that can just, heave the ball and get 2 touchdowns in, 5 minutes or something like that. So they have to keep the scores down for success for the Pride. C.J. Lavery, a safety and a good one at that, joined me, and he's from this state of New Jersey, so we found it fitting to talk to a New Jersey guy. Take us through kind of the road mentally as a football player you went through from 2019 to now, and how does it feel to be back?
Well, right now I'm so thrilled and excited to be back on the field and competing, lining up against someone across different, not wearing maroon and white, going throughout the spring, getting opportunities to go against the Roach, the offensive linemen, and just thrilled just to compete against each other. 'Cause that's all we had. We took every day where our feet were. We just wanted to be where we were, taking every rep, appreciating everything that we had, because we never knew what was going to be our last rep. And now that we're already here, it's August. Can't believe it's almost September 4th, getting ready to play a game. We're thrilled to just be back and playing football.
Okay, so Lou and you both are talking about the Roach, and folks out there may not know what that means, so I'm going to force you to tell us at this point, what's the Roach?
The Roach is our offensive lineman. So it's like the Roach mentality. Lou would be better to explain it. But they're just hard workers, nitty gritty. They may not get all the credit, but it doesn't matter. They just keep working every play.
So I had a Roach next to me during this last interview. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Okay. Some people may be impressed by that fact. We'll just keep flowing now. No, let's talk about the defense, though. The offense gets a lot of attention because of the triple option nature of it, but it's important for the defense to keep the score down on the other side so that the limited opportunity sometimes to score, keep this game in Springfield's favor. 2019, up and down season, mainly up, obviously, but now coming into 2021 with some personnel changes, what do you see here as this team's upper threshold?
I can't wait to see us hit the field this year with new defensive coordinator Lou D, and we also have the opportunity to put in new stuff, see what works, what doesn't work. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise with the extra time to get over through the spring. Also with the D3 rule changes, we were able to put pads on and stuff like that. So we were able to kind of see like what we do best. Even though that we went against the triple option a lot, we still got to run our defense. And now we're finally getting to see it out on the field, how it's going, and we're thrilled to kind of see how it all works out and see how great all the guys are doing. And also in 2019, we had a lot of young guys. I mean, as in the secondary, we didn't have any seniors. So we're all young guys, so we had that experience of playing. So now that we're all juniors and seniors and a couple fifth years, we have that experience on our belts, kind of ready to go. We're not as nervous or anxious out on the field, and we're just ready to play football and fly around.
You brought it up, changes to the rules for fall, or let's say preseason and spring. There's some pluses, there's some minuses, obviously. You brought up the pads, though you lose a day of practice essentially in the preseason each week. Overall, what do you feel about the new changes?
I was thrilled to just have the opportunity to throw pads on, play football, because usually we're not able to tackle each other. We're not able to work on tackling. We're not able to compete as much against the offense. So that actually gave us more opportunities to compete against each other, especially since we didn't have a season last fall. So that was kind of like our season, and we were trying to get a couple scrimmages in, but with COVID, it ended up not working out. But just scrimmage against our offense made us tougher men and tougher people and better football players. So it was just excellent to have the opportunity to play football.
Last question, new quarterback at Western New England. Know much about him, or do you know if you even have picked one yet? And does that make the game planning any different for you?
No, game planning is going to be the same. We're going to go out there and do our thing. We're starting early. We got a scrimmage coming up, and then we're game planning for Western New England. So
no film to really go by, is there?
No, we have script. I think we'll believe they get their scrimmage, but just all film from the last couple of years. So attack.
It's going to be football its purest form, basically, coming up. And earlier when I say he's from Jersey, we didn't do the interview in Jersey. We did it up in Springfield.
It was in Massachusetts. We happen to be physically in New Jersey right now. But, Springfield defense certainly, maybe doesn't get the same press as the triple option offense, although when there were guys in the past like Nick Giorgio, who I got to see a few times this past summer playing linebacker / defensive end pass rusher for the Orlando Predators in the NAL. Strong history there. Both offense and defense, and that defense is going to be really probably the key to the game and keeping that high-powered Western New England offense in check if they want to win the Saw.
We're going to put up the Week 2 games as well, and go back to the Week 1 slide first, then the Week 2 games. Okay. As we talk about this, I want you to prognosticate. Which of these games do you think proves to be, weeks away from the end of the season, or months even, the most important game we'll be looking back at to say, boy, that game was key for whatever reason you think? Which one of these games in these first 2 weeks?
Okay. Probably, looking at I think, the Saw game is really still a key one, because without either team winning their conference, even though they're obviously the favorites, I think Western New England is probably a slightly stronger favorite, although Endicott, who, we've gone toe-to-toe with here in the past, although they're good friends, obviously. They're going to have a lot to say in that, but I really do feel this Western New England Springfield matchup in Week 1 is probably about as big as it gets for Region 1.
I'm going to pick two, actually. One that's purely in Region 1 and one that's a split division or a split region game.
Out of conference.
One I'm going to, I believe, attend is WPI at Endicott on this Week 2 Friday night.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Just because WPI is going to play a factor in that NUMAC race, that. Endicott in the CCC is going to play a huge influence in that one as well.
Absolutely.
So I think that's going to be a really telling game about what to expect in both those conferences in terms of are the front runners really clearly front runners in those polls that we talked about
True.
in the two conferences. Montclair State at Del Val. Montclair State, we're here right now. We're not just saying that for that reason. Del Val is a huge favorite probably going into that game. Just look at the rankings. But Montclair wants a statement game now that Wesley's not in this conference as well. This is a huge game, I think, for them. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Del Val, we've kind of heard through the D3 grapevine, has brought back a lot of players, although there are some key missing pieces, I think, at quarterback and tight end that really led to that 2019 run. But we will hear from Coach Thorne of North Central. He basically said that the Aggies defense was probably the second best that they saw in their Stag Bowl run in 2019. So if guys like Mike Nobile and company can ratchet it up, they're going to be a tough out. But if Montclair can pull an upset over this nationally ranked Del Val team, that is going to get the attention of a lot of fans across D3, not just the ones that are right over our shoulder, or will be over our shoulder in a couple weeks.
Well, that's Region 1 in a nutshell. We're just trying to get your juices flowing for each region in these mini shows. And they're probably going to end up being 35 minutes for each one, 40 minutes no matter what we do. But just understand that we're not trying to pick winners of conferences, stuff like that. We just want to kind of get you used to who's who and what's what in these regions, and then look at some key games right off the bat in each one. So thanks for watching Region 1. Tomorrow, Region 2, which is basically New York, New Jersey when you get down to it, and some teams that kind of fall into that batch too, like the Salisburys of the world and whatnot. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us here on Region 1. Okay, I'm going to give you a chance here for shout-outs for any friends, family, teammates, etc. that might be watching.
I just want to say thank you to all the coaches, my family, friends back home, everybody who's believing in me, and the team. Roll Bears.
Shout out to the great coaching staff, all the great teammates. Shout out my mom, shout out my dad, shout out my brother and sister, and all my friends back home. Great teammates here.
Just shout out my parents back home. Love you guys, miss yous.
I'd like to thank my family, my friends here at Springfield, Coach C, Coach Lou, Tim C, my offensive line coach, and my friends back home. I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, my brother. Thank you for always supporting me, and my friends back at home, and my friends at Springfield.
Jersey boy. Good luck to you, bud. Thank you, sir. Thank you.